What's up guys, this is Joel here, and today in this video, let's unbox and review the OnePlus Nord smartphone. OnePlus, as we know, made its mark pretty quickly in the smartphone market with some great offerings at a good price point. Even though they have hiked the pricing gradually, the brand is very famous amongst its consumers around the world. Now with the Nord being the latest premium budget smartphone in its new lineup, can it compete with the ones already present in its category? Let's have a look. Taking a look at the box, we can see it comes in a black colored box with blue accents on the sides. OnePlus logo and the name is mentioned on the front of the box, whereas the pricing and the company information is mentioned at the back of the box. Opening up the box, we first get the smartphone right on the top. Then we get a good silicone case, some stickers, quick start guide, safety information booklet, the red cable club card, and a SIM ejector tool. Further down in the box, we get the USB Type-C cable and a 30-watt hop charger. I got the Nord in the blue color, but it's also available in the grey color as well. I will leave the Best Buy links in the description below if you guys are interested. Now to give you a physical overview of the phone, the OnePlus Nord comes with a 6.44-inch Fluid AMOLED Full HD display with 90Hz refresh rate, which is protected with a Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Then we have the 32 plus 8 megapixel dual selfie camera, which is embedded in a pill-shaped cutout, and an in-display fingerprint scanner on the front as well. The back of the phone is made out of glass while the frame is made out of plastic. We then have a quad camera setup with LED flash on the back, out of which one is a regular 48 megapixel f1.8 aperture. Second is the 8 megapixel ultra wide camera. Then we have the 5 megapixel depth camera, and last we have the 2 megapixel macro camera. On the right hand side, we have the alert slider and the power on off button, whereas on the left hand side we can find the volume buttons. The top of the phone is kept clean with just a noise cancellation microphone, while the bottom houses the USB Type-C port for charging, the main microphone, speaker, and the SIM card tray. Unfortunately, we don't get a headphone jack on this phone. As for the internals, the OnePlus Nord is equipped with the latest Snapdragon 765G processor and Adreno 620 GPU, coupled with 6, 8 or 12 GB of RAM with either 64, 128 or 256 GB of internal memory. This all runs on Android 10 Oxygen OS 10.5 out of the box, and powering all this is a 4115 mAh battery. Talking about the display first, the Fluid AMOLED display fitted in the OnePlus Nord looks amazing. This high contrast AMOLED has inky blacks and punchy colors. It makes for a much nicer display than what we typically see in this segment. Speaking of refresh rates, the Nord sports a 90Hz display which is smooth and responsive, and it's complemented by short animations in the Oxygen OS. This makes the phone feel snappy. The 90Hz refresh rate is also good for playing supported games, making them more engaging and immersive. The display got really bright and I didn't face any issues using it outdoors. The in-display fingerprint scanner was no slouch either. It worked almost time I placed my finger on the scanner. As for the performance, the sub-flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset in the Nord enables a pretty good performance as well as sub-6 GHz 5G support. This is the first time OnePlus has used something else other than the flagship processor. So obviously it's comparatively slower than its elder sibling, that is the OnePlus 8. There were slight lags and hiccups here and there as it has a sub-flagship processor, but the Nord is not a slow phone whatsoever. The Snapdragon 765 is a very capable chip, nearly matching the performance of the Snapdragon 845 in the CPU and GPU performance. You tend to easily see this in the snappy user interface. Gaming with the Nord was a good experience, though don't mistake it for a gaming phone. Low graphic games like Subway Surfers, Temple Run, etc. should play fine without any lags or stutter. However, heavier games such as Call of Duty, PUBG, etc. do show some performance issues and minor frame drops here and there at times at maximum graphic settings. Of course, the playing experience was really good with good stability. The phone remained cool throughout and I didn't face any heating issues while playing the games. So while the form factor of the phone is more geared towards non-gamers, you can get the gaming performance you so desire. Coming to the software experience, I was excited to try out the Oxygen OS decoupled from the flagship processor for the first time. I thought it would feel slower than the software on the flagship OnePlus, but turns out that's not the case here. It is the same Oxygen OS incorporated from the flagship siblings, and it works absolutely fine. And this is essentially what most people buy into when getting the OnePlus device. And the Nord nails it. Speed, customization, and minimalistic aesthetics are all ensured, even with a slower processor in hand. The RAM management is also done really well on the Nord, and I didn't face any restarting of apps in the background when I switched to it. More than the benchmark scores, it is the overall experience of using the OnePlus Nord that makes this a practical choice for long-term use. Having said that, I've only had the phone for around 10 days, and in this little time frame, I've not faced any issues whatsoever. As for the battery, the OnePlus Nord is powered with a 4115 mAh battery. Combined with the power-efficient Snapdragon 765G, it makes for some good battery performance. I was easily able to get a full day of usage with medium to heavy usage. This included both Wi-Fi and 4G connection, a slight of gaming, and lots of social media browsing. Just for reference, the battery drain while playing Call of Duty Mobile was around 8% after 15 minutes at the highest settings. If the battery drains out completely, then the OnePlus 30-watt warp charge technology lets you juice up the Nord 0 to 100% in approximately 1 hour 10 minutes. Coming to the cameras now, the OnePlus Nord comes with a 48 megapixel quad camera setup at the back. The cameras feel well tuned but not extraordinarily good. The 48 megapixel sensor captures a good amount of sharpness in the photos, and it captures highlight details well. However, the colors do seem to be slightly washed out and aren't always true to life. Moreover, there's often a lot of contrast in the images clicked. The 8 megapixel ultra-wide lens comes a close second with perhaps the best dynamic range, but there is a general lack of sharpness in the image. The Nord's portrait mode shots aren't amazing. Despite having a 5 megapixel depth sensor, there does seem to be some confusion in the age detection, and it's not on point. So in fact, the portrait shots clicked with the selfie camera does a much better job than the rear camera. The 2 megapixel dedicated macro camera is a total waste, I feel. The image look very soft and the colors look washed out. I feel OnePlus should have excluded this camera, by which they would have saved some bucks. The nightscape mode is average, and you can get the images that look fairly sharp and are usable. Selfies are above average to my liking. There's a fair amount of dynamic range, some reasonably accurate colors, and a nice contrast. However, there seems to be some skin smoothing despite the setting being turned off completely. So as for the videos, the OnePlus Nord doesn't suffer from the focusing issues. And the 1080p at 60 fps output was surprisingly good, and the optical image stabilization does a superb job in keeping the footage stable. The front-facing video is sharp with good colors, though it's a slight shaky and doesn't capture much dynamic range. Now as for my verdict, the OnePlus Nord delivers on everything. It's a perfectly ordinary smartphone by today's standards, but it's extraordinarily smooth and responsive. So it has got an acceptable camera, a good screen, decent specs, and a solid battery, and it comes in a cool color. From my point of view, the Oxygen OS and the value for money are the strongest reasons to buy the phone. So guys, that's it for the video, and I really hope you liked it. If you did, then kindly hit the thumbs up button, or else you can vote it down. Kindly smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon to get notified whenever a new video goes live. So until next time, you guys take care. Ciao.